Hi friends, welcome to Gentle Yoga class. I'm so happy you're here with me today. Today we're continuing with our affirmation of I deserve joy. So props today, definitely a very prop heavy class. Props are always optional. If you don't have them around or don't feel like using them, don't worry about it. But if you have them available, I would recommend a blanket, a bolster or a pillow, whatever you got, a strap, a yoga strap, or you could use something like a scarf, and 2 blocks. So go ahead and pause the video, grab anything you might want to use today. The more props, the merrier. That's always my motto. And when you're ready, go ahead and find a seat. I'm gonna grab a blanket and sit a little elevated, just to be more comfortable. You can sit in a gentle cross-legged seat, or you can lay down on your yoga mat if that's more comfortable for you. So wherever you are, take a moment to close the eyes. As always, tapping into our breath, settling the mind as we focus on the gentle rise and fall of the chest. Breathing in a relaxed way, not trying to force anything. Taking a moment to notice our breath, see where we are today. Maybe you've had a stressful week and your chest feels tight and anxious. Maybe your week's been great and you feel super relaxed. Neither of these are right or wrong. There's no moral value to our breath. Always remember that. Wherever you are, just sitting with that feeling, acknowledging it. And with each breath, letting a little bit of tension release in the chest, maybe the stomach or the hips. All of us feel tension in different parts of our bodies in different ways. Sometimes all it takes is a little acknowledgement. Today, during class, I want you to remember that no matter what you've been through this week, this year, your whole life, you deserve joy. Joy can be hard to accept sometimes, especially when joy has been taken away from us by fate, by other people, by our circumstances. But I want you to remember that it is safe to feel joy. It's so important to find those little pockets of joy in our daily life, something as small as seeing a beautiful little bird out the window, or as big as accepting love from our family and our friends. No matter what you've been through, who you are, what you've done, you deserve joy. Taking a few more breaths here. With each exhale, just sinking into your seat, into your mat, feeling super grounded here in this space, our sacred yoga space. And when you're ready, slowly blinking open the eyes, coming back to the room. And we're ready to get moving, getting some joyful movement in our lives. So you can place a blanket off to the side. And we are going to sit kneeling on our heels, hips to heels. Now, if this is uncomfortable, you want to be a little more lifted, you can of course grab that blanket or grab your 2 blocks, stack them on top of each other between the feet, and sit right on top of those blocks. Sometimes it's more comfortable for our knees to sit up a little higher. So make yourself comfortable wherever you are. Nice long spine. Take a deep inhale. And on the exhale, sigh it out. We're going to do some cat and cow movements in our seat here just to change it up. So on the inhale, reach the arms up overhead, get nice and long. And on the exhale, bend the elbows out wide and puff up the chest, maybe a tiny little back bend here. Open up the shoulders. Inhale here. And on the exhale, we're going to slowly close the forearms together like wings. Round the back, tuck chin towards chest. Inhale to open the wings, puff up the chest. And exhale to close it up, round the back. Couple more times here. Inhale to open. Exhale, close. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Once more all together. Inhale to open. Exhale, close those wings. And slowly lift back up to center. Hands on the thighs, nice long spine. Lengthening through the back of the neck here. Take one more inhale. And exhale. Beautiful. Now we're going to come to hands and knees. So grab your blocks, place them out of the way, right at the top of your mat. If you have sensitive knees, I highly recommend grabbing a blanket or a towel, whatever you've got handy, and just spreading it out in the center of your mat for your knees to rest on. Give yourself a little extra cushion. Now grab onto your blocks, place them on the highest setting, both hands on the blocks, and step that right foot in between both blocks for a nice low lunge. So you can do hands pressed on the blocks, fingertips on blocks, or if you're feeling it, you can reach the arms up overhead. Wherever you are, just sinking the hips forward, maybe getting a nice stretch through the front of that left hip flexor. Opening the shoulders with an inhale. And on the exhale, just sinking down, letting gravity take over. Getting a nice stretch through those hips. 3 more breaths here. Breathing at your own pace, but always letting the breath take the lead. One more deep inhale and deep exhale. Very nice. From here, plant the left hand on your block. Reach the right arm up and twist the torso towards the right. So we're in kind of a low lunge with a twist. So opening the shoulders up towards the right. Reach that right arm straight back towards the back of your mat. Thinking about inhale to lengthen up through the spine. And exhale to twist to the right and reach back. Still sinking the hips low. 2 more breaths here. Getting a nice twist. One more inhale. And exhale, slowly moving back towards the front of the mat. Step that right knee back to meet the left. Maybe shake out the hips for a moment. Noticing the difference from one hip to the other. And then we'll move to the other side. So step that left foot forward between both blocks. Hands planted on blocks, maybe on fingertips, or you can reach the arms up overhead if that feels good. Wherever you are, just sinking the hips down, getting that stretch through the front of the right hip flexor here. Left knee tracking over those left toes. Take an inhale to open the shoulders up. And exhale to sink the hips low. 3 more breaths here in our low lunge. Keeping those breaths steady, letting them guide you. 1 more inhale and exhale. From here, adding our twist, so plant the right hand down on your block. Open that left arm up and twist towards the left this time. Reach that left arm straight back towards the back of the mat. Inhale to lengthen through the spine. And exhale to open the shoulders up towards the left. Reach that left arm straight back. 2 more breaths here. Keep sinking those hips forward and twisting open, not trying to force anything. 1 more inhale and exhale, slowly unwinding, planting that left hand down and drawing left knee straight back. Once again, wiggle through the hips. Maybe they feel a little different, maybe not. That's perfectly okay. Move those blocks out of the way. We're going to come to a wide-legged seated fold. Now this one can be tough if your hamstrings are tight, if your hips are tight. So I definitely recommend sitting up on a blanket or a bolster. We're going to stretch the legs out wide like so. Thinking of rolling the hips forward. If you feel like you've got a super round back here, you can always lift a little higher, but just being okay with who you are, finding joy in these poses, no matter what they look like. So from here, there's a couple things we can do. We can do no props at all. If we're doing that, hands by the hips, take an inhale to open the shoulders, maybe gaze up. On the exhale, hinging from the hips, folding forward at any degree. Maybe walking hands forward as far as feels good, not trying to force. And just working on, with each exhale, slowly sinking into your wide-legged seated fold. This is a great place to be. Again, it doesn't matter how far down you fold, finding a spot that feels sustainable for you. Now, if you really feel like you want some extra support, a great way to do that is grabbing 2 blocks, taking your bolster right on top of those blocks. You might need to readjust a little bit closer, a little bit far away. Feel okay with experimenting. So we've got kind of a tower here. And what we can do is just let our hands rest, our arms rest on the bolster, and let the forehead rest on the hands, like so. So you're still getting that fold. You've just got a little bit higher support to let yourself relax into the pose. So wherever you are, we're going to take 5 deep breaths here in our wide-legged forward fold. If you feel like your knees need a little support, 2 blankets or pillows underneath the knees are perfect. Incorporating as many props to help you feel the stretch in the pose without straining. Staying here to breathe. Two more deep breaths here all together. Take an inhale. Exhale, relax the body. One more deep inhale. And deep exhale. Very nice. Slowly lifting back up to a seat. If you've got any props, get them out of the way. I'm gonna move towards a one-legged forward fold. So bending through that left knee, draw the sole of the left foot towards the right inner thigh. First thing, we're gonna sit up nice and tall and turn the torso towards the extended leg. Now this might be a good time to incorporate the strap. So without the prop, we'll inhale, reach the arms up, gather some length. On the exhale, hinge from the hips, fold forward, maybe grabbing onto the shin or to the foot. Let the back naturally round and bow the head forward. If you would like to bring a strap in, you can wrap the strap around the ball of the foot, holding onto the strap with each hand. Inhale to lengthen the spine first. On the exhale, slowly folding forward, tugging on that strap gently, and folding to any degree that feels good to you. So wherever you are, taking a few deep breaths, letting go of the back of the neck, bowing forward. With each exhale, sinking into the stretch, feeling the back of the hamstring, slowly stretching, focusing on each inhale and exhale. Two more breaths here. Inhale. Exhale, one. Inhale. Exhale, two. Perfect. Slowly letting go of the foot or the strap. Lifting one vertebrae at a time. Head is last to lift. Sitting up nice and tall. Move your strap out of the way. Plant that left hand down by your side. We're gonna lean into that left shin and lift up. Press the pelvis forward. Maybe a tiny little back bend here. Take an inhale, press forward. And on the exhale, slowly lower that right hand down. We're gonna move towards a pigeon pose. So left shin is on the mat. Right leg is extended out behind you. Untuck the toes. Now the left shin does not have to be parallel to the front of the mat. You can tuck that heel a little bit closer to the pelvis. If you feel like your left hip is kind of hovering off the ground, this is a great place to grab either a bolster or a blanket. Tuck the blanket underneath that left thigh to bring the floor up to you. Now from here in our pigeon pose, we're gonna slowly lower onto forearms. Maybe widening the elbows, making a pillow with the hands, and letting forehead rest gently on the stacked hands. We're gonna stay here for a few breaths in this deep hip stretch. Remembering that you can always readjust at any time. There's no rule that says once you're in a pose, you have to stay there. Make it comfortable for you. If this feels very intense, which it sometimes does for some people, I encourage you to breathe into it. But you can always lift back up. Maybe onto forearms. Make the pose work for you, not the other way around. That's what I always say. Staying here for 5 more deep breaths. Slowly lifting back up, taking your time to get there. Up onto forearms, and then back up onto hands. We're gonna slowly unwind back to our wide-legged forward fold. And we'll do the same on the other side. So, sitting up on a blanket, if that feels good, grab your strap if you like to use that. We're going to bend into that right knee this time, sole of the right foot towards the left inner thigh. From here, we're going to turn the torso to face that extended leg. Now, without the prop, you can inhale to reach arms up. Exhale, hinging from the hips, fold forward over that left leg, maybe grabbing onto shin or that foot, and bowing the head down, sinking into the stretch. Always feeling free to use a prop, like a strap. Wrap that strap around the ball of that left foot. Inhale to lengthen first, and then exhale to fold over the left leg to any degree. Not trying to force the deepest fold we can possibly get, but finding somewhere that feels sustainable, somewhere that feels joyful. Taking a few breaths here to really feel that stretch through the back of the left leg, that hamstring. Two more breaths here. Inhale. Exhale, one. Inhale. Exhale, two. Very nice. Now letting go of the foot, letting go of the strap. Slowly lifting the torso up. One vertebrae at a time. Head is last to lift. Sitting up nice and tall. If you've got a strap, place it out of the way. Plant that right hand down. We're going to lift up onto that right shin. Inhale to lift. Press the pelvis forward. Maybe a tiny little back bend here. One more. Inhale to press forward. On the exhale, lower the left hand down. We're facing the front of the mat and moving towards pigeon pose on the right side. So right shin is down on the mat. Left leg is extended long behind you. Untuck the toes. Again, if your right hip feels like it's floating, you want more support, grab a blanket and just place it underneath that hip to lift the floor up to you. That right heel can be tucked in towards the body. Taking your time to feel nice and comfortable here in your pigeon pose. And when you're ready, slowly lowering onto forearms. You can always feel free to stay here, or you can lower down, widen the elbows, forehead to your hands like a pillow. And we'll breathe into this right hip. Always feeling free to readjust at any time. And we'll take 5 long breaths here. Breathing into the stretch. Slowly, when you're ready, lifting the head, coming back up nice and slow to the forearms, then up to the hands. We're going to roll once again over to our wide-legged forward fold. We'll take one fold here, so hands by the hips. Inhale to open the chest, and exhale to fold, bowing the head. And then inhale to lift right back up. Beautiful. Coming back to our hands and knees. So feeling free to once again set out your blanket for the knees. We're going to move towards puppy pose. That's a nice chest opener, back body opener. So we'll start in tabletop pose. So wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. From here for puppy pose, you can keep toes tucked or untucked, your choice. We're going to keep the hips lifted where they are and just slowly walk the hands forward, letting the chest lower down towards the mat and keeping the hips high. Lowering as far as feels comfortable. You can lower down to the chin or maybe the forehead to mat. Just letting gravity take over, drawing chest down towards the mat. Take one more deep inhale, deep exhale. To get out of this one, we're just going to simply roll forward onto the forearms, lower the hips down to the mat, meeting in Sphinx pose. So forearms on mat, elbows underneath shoulders, just a mild little back bend here, gazing forward. From here, we're going to bend through that left knee, draw it out to the side for a half frog pose. This is another hip stretch, which can feel super intense to some people and feel like almost nothing to other people. So however you feel is perfectly normal. If you want a little less, it feels like too much, you can draw that left heel towards the body. If you want a little bit more of a stretch, you can kick that left foot out to the left, always being mindful of how the knee feels. Finding a spot that feels good, gazing forward, and taking a moment in half frog. From here, we're going to lift the left elbow up just enough so that we can thread the right arm underneath, lower down onto the right shoulder, and we're going to open up to a twist on the back body. So open that left arm out to the left, letting that left knee drag in, just naturally, sinking into the twist. That left knee can just float in the air. Or if you want a little extra support, you can grab a block and just place it under the knee for a little extra support. Wherever you are, sinking into our supine twist. One more deep inhale and exhale. Nice. We're going to come out the same way we came, so slowly unwinding towards the left. Move your prop out of the way. Everyone meeting back in Sphinx pose. Elbows under shoulders, gazing forward. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So draw the right leg out to the right knee out to the right for half frog. So again, kicking out that right foot to the right for a little bit more, or tucking that heel in towards the body for a little bit less. Finding a spot that feels sustainable. Breathing here in our half frog. We're going to add on a twist by lifting that right elbow up just enough to thread the left arm underneath, landing on the left shoulder, and opening that right arm out to the right, letting that right knee drag in naturally for a twist on the back body. You can let that right knee just float in the air, or grab a block, place it under the knee for extra support. One more deep breath in, and exhale where you are. Now this time, instead of unwinding towards a Sphinx pose, we're just gonna roll onto our back body. If you've rolled off your mat, you can scooch back on the mat. Bend both knees, hug them in towards the body, maybe making some circles in one direction, and circles in the other direction. We're going to add one more hip stretch before our final resting pose. Happy baby. So draw both feet up towards the ceiling and draw knees towards armpits. Now you can grab behind the knees and draw the knees down, or you can grab to the outsides of both feet. Drawing tailbone down towards the mat, nice long spine here. And send those feet up and knees down. You can stay still or maybe rock side to side if that feels good. You can play with extending one leg and the other leg. Don't be afraid to experiment here. Bring a little joy into each pose by moving around intuitively. And when you're ready, slowly let go of the legs. Stretch the legs out long. And we're ready for our final resting pose, Shavasana. So as always, grabbing as many props as you'd like to make yourself comfortable. A blanket or pillow under the head, maybe a bolster under the knees. Cover yourself in a blanket if it's cold where you are. Taking your time to make it nice and comfortable. Now that we've finished moving, zero muscular engagement here, so let the feet flop out to the sides. Take up as much space as you'd like with the arms and the legs. And we'll stay here for as long as you'd like. So once again, focus on our breathing. Remembering that you are allowed to feel joy. It's safe to feel joy, and you deserve to feel joy. Whether that's in a yoga class like this, carving out some time for yourself, for self-care, or the joy of the holiday season that we're in right now. Notice those pockets of joy. Take note of them and appreciate when they make themselves seen. Feel free to stay here in Shavasana for as long as you'd like. I want to thank you for joining me for another gentle yoga class. I hope I'll see you next week. Have a lovely rest of your day.